Hey, Jason, there was a viral thread over on Twitter from someone named Colin Russ. He had applied for a job over at New Relic. And Colin, before we jump in with you, I'm going to run the audience through what you said. Jason, a little screen share, I think, will set the tone. So, in this first image from Colin, who we'll talk to in just a moment, you'll see that he sent an email to New Relic, which is a company that was public and went private for 6.6 billion a couple of years ago. And he said, "Good morning, attached. Please find my resume for consideration for the director of product management," and then a reference number. Following, New Relic sent him an email saying, "Hey, Colin, thank you for reaching out to us and expressing your interest in joining New Relic. We appreciate your enthusiasm and the initiative you've shown and you want to be part of our team, but currently we don't see an active application for a specific role for you." They sent him to the New Relic careers page. Colin then replied, "Well, I'm responding to an advertisement in a newspaper that asked people to send in a resume with this particular code attached to it." And he then said some spicy things, and they said, "We don't want to talk to you anymore." Now, we learned quite a lot prepping for this segment. There's quite a lot of nuance, Jason, that goes into exactly what is an H-1B application versus a perm job posting. But let's hear from the man himself. Please welcome to the program. It's Colin Russ. Colin, hey.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming, Colin. I saw your tweet and I said, we need to double click on this. What do you do for a living? And maybe then tell us what you uncovered here.
Absolutely. So again, great to be here. My name's Colin Russ. For the last 15-ish years, I've been in a variety of operations leadership roles. Spent the last few months really just, doing what unfortunately more than 7 million Americans are doing at the same time and looking for jobs. The post that kind of went viral really came from just, end of the day, I was frustrated, after, hundreds of applications, getting this response that seemed disingenuous. That what are you talking about? What job could we possibly, have that you're referring to? I probably owe him an apology for, not being as polite as my mother raised me to be. But
it can be frustrating when you're the breadwinner or, the co-breadwinner or whatever the situation might be. And you take the time to apply for a job and the job doesn't exist, but the job does exist, but the job might exist just not for a person in the United States of America for, I believe, a U.S. company. So take us to the next jump here, which is they're hiring for this position. They're trying to prove that they can't find the person and how that H-1B sort of fits into all this.
So that's what's, interesting about the H-1B process. 85,000 of them are issued a year, huge lottery system. But fundamentally, they're meant to fill this gap of, hey, people with a super unique or nuanced set of skills that just we can't hire that talent, domestically. We need to provide a visa to it. Makes perfect sense. The intent of it, sound business, sound policy, all great. But what has occurred in the last decade plus is this shift of companies using the H-1B visa process to, rather than just get this exceptional talent, they're using it to suppress wages and ultimately try and bring in, cheaper labor. So it's not just people like myself who are trying to say, hey, I'm not necessarily claiming to be the best person for this, but I'm certainly qualified and capable of, if nothing else, warranting an interview.
Wow. So they've been busted by this Jobs.now site. This site was set up by Patriots in America. And I talked to Vice President J.D. Vance about this 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was in Washington, D.C., about, hey, are we actually using the H-1Bs as a way to lower wages and not giving Americans a fair chance at this when Americans need jobs? And we've talked about on this program, Alex, incessantly static team size. A lot of the companies in America, whether it's Uber or Microsoft or Google or Meta, Facebook, they have less employees, the same number of employees as they did 4 or 5 years ago. And they're global organizations, so they can hire anywhere. But they want to specifically bring people in here for jobs that Americans can clearly do. And why do they want to do that? It's pretty obvious. They want to do that to pay lower wages. That's what's happening here, Colin, you would say?
That's my take on it. And I think that's where a lot of my frustration comes to. Like I said, I'm a dad just looking for work. I am in no position, and I wouldn't even pretend to judge or hold something against somebody who's just trying to provide for their family, who's trying to, better their circumstances. Nobody can blame them for that. It's these companies that are taking advantage of a system that was designed and created with good intent to serve a very real need, but they are using it to the detriment of everyone but themselves in many respects.
So I'm going to pass my judgment now. Number one, New Relic should give you the interview. So I'm calling on New Relic's CEO to give you the interview. And I'm going to email him personally after the show, because I think it's wrong that you don't even get a chance to interview for the job if you're qualified. And maybe you're not qualified in their mind, but whatever. I mean, and I do want them to give us an actual statement. We don't want to just present one side here. Alex, great job on uncovering how many H-1B visas they have. But this is an issue for all of America. Number two, I'm going to send the thread. If you can email me or DM me the thread so I have it here, Alex. I'm going to send it to Vice President J.D. Vance. I'm sending him your thread, and I'm going to send him this because he said he wanted to get educated on it. I don't know. He's busy. He's the vice president. There's a lot going on, but I know that he cares about American people, American workers. It's part of the MAGA movement, so therefore they should be on top of this.